This is my journey with making my first feature film. Last year, in the summer of 2025, I attempted to make my own feature film. I had been thinking about my dream, which is making movies. Eventually, it just kind of hit me that I don't have to wait to make movies, you know? I can be making movies now. I can try to make movies at the level that I'm currently at. I thought I could, develop a project and really try to give it everything I had. When I was writing it, I was basically trying to think of something that I could do. Because when I would write before, I was just writing for just the pleasure of writing. But when I was writing this script, I had to keep in mind what my actual boundaries are and what I could do. I tried to write locations that I knew, and I tried to write for people that I knew. I kind of think that should be noted because every other thing that I wrote was, I felt compelled, artistically, emotionally, to tell a specific story. But this was the first time where emotion wasn't the intent. The intent was accessibility for me as a filmmaker. When I finished the script, I was like, okay, we're gonna shoot this thing. So I went down and broke it down scene by scene, what we need for each scene, which scenes take place at the same location, so how it would be beneficial to maybe do those in the same day. Keeping track of, the clothes that the characters are wearing in terms of costuming, like what outfits carry over to different scenes. And so I put together a schedule. And that schedule included what days we were going to shoot, where we were going to shoot, what scenes we were going to shoot, what costumes we needed, what props we needed, and all that. It's a fairly small thing, but it felt like I was learning something about the process of filmmaking. But eventually, things changed. It's summer, people had vacations that they didn't really know about. This obviously wasn't going to be a professional production. It's just me and my friends. I had to accept that we were at a much smaller level, and things like this are going to happen. It was really frustrating, I will admit, because I had to move things around so many times, but eventually we got our start to shooting. I tried to make it so that the really big set pieces, maybe the more complicated scenes, were done first, and then as we go down it gets, smaller scale. Looking back, I wouldn't have done that the same way. I can see where I was coming from trying to get the tough stuff out of the way first, but in hindsight, what I think would have been more beneficial was to kind of start with something that was a little more smaller scale to introduce me to the process of what it's like shooting a scene, to ease me into what it would be like working with these people and working with this script. Because it was my first time. It was my first time directing anything. So even though we did kind of start out with the bigger stuff, we got it done. We moved through the schedule and we definitely knocked out some scenes. And then we got to this one scene and it was another big set piece. For whatever reason, on that day, I kind of just had a breakdown. It was taking longer than I expected to. I felt super overwhelmed with what I was doing, and I felt bad for the people that I was working with because they were just, sticking with me for hours of me not knowing what I'm doing and being overwhelmed by this stuff. We didn't end up getting what we were supposed to get. At the end of that day, I went home and I started questioning whether or not I could do this. Because I just come out of an experience where I was trying to direct. I was trying to do the thing that it was my dream to do for my whole life. I was emotionally overwhelmed. I didn't know what to do. I was breaking down. When you have an experience like that, it's like this thing that you spent your entire life dreaming of. You get to it, and then you don't even know if you're cut out for it. If I'm breaking down trying to direct a scene in this zero-budget movie, are my dreams of being a director even possible? And that stuff was going through my head for a while, and it was really scary. I fully started questioning, oh my god, what the fuck am I gonna do with my life if I can't do this? This was the dream, and this was the only dream that I'd ever had. Going into the production of this movie, I knew it wasn't going to be the best thing in the world. I knew I was going to try, and I thought, best case scenario, maybe it's so good I could enter it in a festival. But Worst case scenario, it's a learning experience. It was really hard, and for some reason I didn't anticipate it being that hard. But I'm grateful that I did it, because at the end of the day, what I got from it was that I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself and about filmmaking. I'm glad I went through that process of trying to make that film. It taught me a lot, but I don't think that specific thing was the move for me. It was the right move at the time. In terms of my career path, in terms of the journey, of the steps to get to where I want to go, there were other things I could do. Maybe better things I could do. We didn't end up shooting the entire movie, but I'm happy it happened. And I'm really grateful to all the people that stuck with me through all that. Even though it was long, even though I didn't know what I was doing, I'm very grateful for them. I guess if there's anything to be taken away from this, it's if you have a big ambition, if you have something that you want to try and do, no matter how unrealistic or difficult it may seem, I think you should just do it, because best case scenario, it works out really well. Worst case scenario, you learn a lot from it, and that's valuable.